My name is Jim Randall. I'm the chair of the Institute of Island Studies at the University of Prince Edward Island. I'm also the coordinator of the Master of Arts Island Studies program at that same university and the UNESCO co-chair in Island Studies and Sustainability. This is a conference that was organized jointly with the Hainan government. The Hainan government has developed a much greater interest, or is a building interest, in island economic change and development. And they partnered with us in order to host a conference on Hainan Island, China, that allowed us to bring together some of the leading experts in island economic change and development on Hainan, and partnered with Chinese experts on island change and an audience of staff and students from Hainan Island. This conference would not have taken place without the commitment and dedication of the Hainan government and the staff and the leadership within the Hainan government. So my thanks goes out to the leadership in the Hainan government in order to see that the importance of conferences like this and other conferences and publications in the future. Hainan Island is an island that's about 2.5 times the size of Prince Edward Island. Unlike Prince Edward Island, with only 150,000 people, it has 9.4 million people. It is in fact the smallest province in China. But you can see how the difference in perspective and scale exists there, because it is one of the largest islands in the world and among the largest islands in China. It has been growing recently because it's a southern island in China, one of the most southern islands. It has been designated as an international tourist destination. So over the last 15 or 20 years, you've seen the economy and the society there change from being primarily agricultural to being much more service-oriented, including tourist-based tourism. And so this is very important for the Hainan government to be seen not only as a leader in tourism, but also as a hub for trade and commerce throughout the world. This was a 2-day conference that was held in mid-November of 2017. It took place in the main city on Hainan Island, Haikou, and it brought together 10 international experts from places as far away as Malta, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and these experts bring their own knowledge in areas as diverse as trade and commerce and openness of economies, the importance of governance, and how jurisdictions relate to other larger jurisdictions, even issues related to aid and other models of economic change and development on islands. It's interesting, one of the things that I think we're most proud of on this conference is that this represented a learning and a training experience, both for us as experts and academics, as well as for the audience. For the audience, we bring our knowledge and expertise to the table. The other Chinese scholars do the same thing. And hopefully this represents a learning experience for all of those 50 or 60 people that are in the audience, so that they go away and go back to their jobs and think a little bit more thoroughly about what island studies and island economic change means to their day-to-day lives. For us, we gain a greater knowledge about the research that's taken place by other scholars elsewhere in the world and by our Chinese counterparts. Several of the papers talked about the importance not only of island states and economic change taking place on island states, but also about these many other islands of the world that we sometimes call subnational island jurisdictions. And these are islands that are not independent nation states, but rather are part of a larger country or state. And too often, I think in the past, these islands have flown under the radar. They have not had the same level of data available to us as researchers to study them, and we don't understand sometimes what's really taking place on these islands and the relationships that they have, not only with their larger country that they're part of, but also the world around them. So one of the things I think we felt was very important was to allow us to have a stage to bring out the importance of these islands, in addition to island states as well, and make us understand and make the audience understand the significance of these islands for economic change. Remember that Hainan Island is one of these subnational island jurisdictions. This is an island of over 9 million people that we as scholars and as supranational bodies like the United Nations and other bodies, the UN, they really don't have that much information on. So it was our attempt through a conference like this in order to allow the greater visibility of those kinds of islands in that international debate. Island studies has now been in existence as an interdisciplinary field for a number of years. It is, I believe that it's emerging much more as to be much more important field in the world. We see growing interest in academic programs, growing interest in conferences, and growing numbers of students and faculty that are undertaking research and taking studies in island studies. This now represents another element within the Asian region where we can grow island studies. And I think that's critically important to building a network of scholars and institutions and governments that view island studies as being very important. For the UNESCO chair, the mandate of the UNESCO chair is to build capacity in island studies. And so this feeds into that mandate. The fact that we're now networking not only with many international experts on island economic change and development, but also building sort of almost more hubs and spokes within the Asian region of institutions and individuals who get excited about what it means to live on an island and how we can make islands more sustainable and grow more effectively.